All right, joining us now with more reaction to the bombshell Flynn document released, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham. Senator, I don't know what else to say. I mean, is this the biggest setup you've ever seen? And I am told by my sources, this is only the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more coming.
Yeah, there's more coming. Yeah, I think there's more coming. Now, it's pretty apparent to me that General Flynn was a victim of an out-of-control Department of Justice. He basically got railroaded. It's pretty widely known that the Obama administration didn't have much use for General Flynn. So Attorney General Barr needs to be complimented. He's doing the right thing. He has 3 goals that I share: restore trust, hold people accountable who have engaged in misconduct, and right wrongs like General Flynn and I believe eventually Papadopoulos.
What is our goal? Truth, admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired? Senator, maybe I'm old school. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. I don't know. But, you know, if somebody serves their country, a lot of that time in war zones for 33 years, protecting our liberty and our freedom and our Constitution and our way of life, you would think that you would bend over backwards, not set him up. Not say, oh, you don't need an attorney when he definitely needed one. Not brag, oh, I sent my agents in to take advantage of the chaos, something I never do or get away with in previous administrations. That's the FBI director and deputy director. They didn't think he lied. They made him a plea after he went bankrupt, sold his house, and said, we're putting your son in jail if you don't sign.
Yeah, General Flynn deserved better from his government. He was willing to die for his country. The people who were involved in this, I hope, will be held to account. Attorney General Barr is beginning to right wrongs. There's a lot more coming. I promise you that everybody who signed the FISA warrant against Carter Page will be asked to testify before the Judiciary Committee. Whether they come or not will be up to them, but they will be asked to come. And the goal is to make sure this never happens again to any American, much less a war hero.
You know, so many people, we've been unpeeling the layers of the onion on this deep state for such a long period of time. And people would ask me, when are we ever going to get justice? I'm told we're very close now, and that a lot of big things, a lot of moving parts here, and I think it's very revealing some of the things the Attorney General has said. I'm paying attention, and some of the movements of the prosecutor Durham in terms of hiring more staff. What do you glean from these statements and these actions?
Well, these notes reek of criminal misconduct. I trust Attorney General Barr to be fair to everybody involved, those being investigated. But his goal, I know him very well, is to right the ship, is to restore trust that's been lost, to hold people accountable. One of the worst things that can happen in any democracy is for those who are in charge of the law to take it in their own hands for political purposes. And I think that's what's happened here, but time will tell. But I promise you that we're going to find out how the FBI operated when they were told by the Russian subsource in January 2017, the dossier is a bunch of garbage. I find it impossible to believe that did not work its way up to Comey and McCabe. In January 2017, the person who prepared the dossier for Christopher Steele told the FBI it's a bunch of bar talk and hearsay, and they obtained 2 warrants after that. How could that possibly happen?
Premeditated fraud against the FISA court. If I lied to a judge, I don't think you could get me out of jail. And you're a pretty darn good lawyer. You, Trey Gowdy, many, the great one, Mark Levin, couldn't get me out. All right, Senator Graham, thank you. Great work.